sorry, Yi. My only mistake of the quarter.
What's that?
My only mistake on this game.
Oh. Okay, you gotta do it all over again. When you're ready. Tristan, thank you. And Joanne, you're rounding out. Right?
All right, yeah.
to the write down of word or so, or just perhaps using your recollection, you can provide some commentary for each of the persons that just went. So let's start with Yi Yi. How'd you feel about that, Yi Yi?
It was okay.
You felt okay?
Yeah.
Well, that's better than a number of options. So let's give Yi Yi some final feedback. Yes?
I thought your timing has gotten much better. Just like, not only like between the beats, but just like it felt very like natural to play for you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think you've made like a drastic improvement like over the course of like 10 weeks. I remember I did your first peer observation, and just like the level that you're at now compared to that is just amazing. The two words I wrote down were confidence and leadership. I think you're doing a lot more leading rather than following, and you just look a lot more confident on what you do. So, Jess.
That's very nice. Do you feel more confident
Yeah.
when you're up in front of, were you pretty nervous the very first time that you got up there? And
Yes.
yes, as I recall, that was absolutely the case. Does anyone else have comments for Yi Yi? It's your last chance. Yi Yi, I thought you did really quite well today. And my positive comments were overall, I thought you had great navigation through what are the traps in both movements. And I thought that was evidence of a lot of preparation on your end, and that shows when you get up in front of people. And there was a good ease, and I mean that in a good way. Sometimes ease can be a bad thing too, right? Somebody's a little too laid back. But there was a good ease and relaxation. I think with your conducting that, I've seen get increasingly more to the front than it's been in the past. And what I mean by that is it's getting out to the players. It's getting in front of you a bit. Daniel, do you have some final comments for Yi?
Nothing else. Fantastic job. Yeah.
What do you think that you've learned the most over the course of 10 weeks?
Well, I have to have a steady tempo. If I don't, they don't play that way. Especially in the big section of the second movement, right, Daniel?
That is true.
Yep. Steady, steady. All right, great job, Yi. Raina, comments for Raina? Yes, Joe.
I just want to say overall, I thought your communication and time were your strengths, especially. There were other positive factors too, but those, I just want to comment and say that I really, as a player, felt really just stable, and I knew where everything was going to be, and it was almost like, it's not like you were predictive, but I could sense where you were going with things, which was really comforting and made me just able to play the part comfortably. Yeah.
Appropriate predictability. Yes.
I also really loved how you like were super engaged like with your facial expressions, but just all of your body language. Like I could tell that you really wanted to be conducting us, and like that really showed like you're very intentional and like engaged.
It's a great comment, Megan. Thank you. Serena.
I think like keeping like you kept a straight face when I messed up, which I know like I don't keep a straight face when like someone messes up, or if I but that wasn't your fault. But next time you gave me like a really clear cue, like even more clear than before, and so like that was just problem solving. And it was really
It's about managing your mistakes and other people's mistakes. It happens. Any last comments for Raina? My positives, pretty much as have been already voiced by your peers. I thought you had good contact and connection to the players, and it came from an authentic place. not that you've ever been inauthentic, but when we connect with human beings, the one part of the equation that they want is that authenticity piece. And if they don't feel like the authenticity is there, they're going to shut down any attempt to connect with them. And I felt for the entire quarter, you've had great intention and authenticity, and I thought it was on display today. And good affect, too, overall. When the music is effervescent, you were effervescent. When the music takes on a slightly more somber character, then you took on a slightly more somber character. So I think those are strong points for you. And I thought Megan's comment was particularly good with respect to approaching things with good intention. Is this something that you will continue to work on, conducting? You
I'm not sure. I mean, I studied with him both privately, so I'm sure he'll have things to say.
Mhm. What has been the big takeaway for you from taking this course?
I think intentionality is the big one, because like the actions don't mean anything unless like you give them meaning. So that, and also just like how, I mean, like it was, like I knew this before, but really when you're conducting, you can see how like the smallest details make a really big difference between like fine and really good.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right, Tristan. How'd you feel about that?
I think it went pretty well. There were a couple of hiccups,
A few.
especially in the second movement. There was a page turn that was unsuccessful on my part.
It
It
happens.
slowed me down a little bit, but I think I recovered from all the hiccups and got through
I
it.
thought it was your most solid 8 minutes. And, you know, it's 8 minutes of you having to give, and I thought it was some of your most solid conducting. You know, there are still things that, you know, we would work on if we had another 10 weeks, but as far as your path from beginning to end, I'm very pleased. And I was particularly pleased with what you did. So let's give Tristan some comments. Anish.
Everything seems a lot more composed and
Yeah.
stable compared to like when you first started, and it's like, it's just a lot of improvement. It's been like, you can very much tell that you are much more comfortable with what you're doing. It's very easy to read.
I think as a result of you feeling comfortable, you're able to communicate more with the ensemble and you know, give clear entrances and things like this, where you're actually, you know, making eye contact and engaging with the ensemble. Where I think if you go back and watch your first video, you'll find that there's a lot less engagement. So yeah, great improvement.
Anything else? Yeah, I'm really happy for you in terms of that engagement piece, and those were the positive comments that I typed. The eye contact was there, but it was there in a very sincere way. And I almost got the feeling that you were maybe enjoying some of it just a little bit. Would that be a true statement?
Sure.
Yeah. And as a composer, are you going to continue to compose, do you feel, after you leave Northwestern? Yeah, so I think your ability to not only verbally communicate with the performers about what this music is, what it means to you, the intentions behind it, etc., but your ability to communicate musical ideas through getting up and conducting whatever ensemble, be it a vocal ensemble or an instrumental ensemble, I think will be an added benefit to your career as a composer. Composers who can conduct, even if they're not what they would consider highly trained, I think gain a little bit of respect from the performers, because they're in there trying to make whatever they want happen. I always appreciated when a composer, even if it were in a rehearsal situation where they're not going to conduct the piece, would at least get up and do a few things just to help. So I'd encourage you to think about that moving forward.
I just want to echo your progress. It's really tremendous.
Yeah.
Just, enormous kudos. Keep up the good work.
And finally, Joe. Yeah, Raina.
I thought your energy was awesome. Like, I'm sure you have fond recollections of when they made you, like, scream, like, I'm a funny guy. But really, like, your energy came through really, really well. And it, like, especially, like, the second movement, I literally played D, like, the whole time. And you made me, like, more excited to play that D the whole time. it was like, really fun to play with you.
I
Yeah.
think you really take leadership now. Like, it really showed that you know it, and once you hear it, now you can sort of respond and really lead the ensemble. And that's very important. So conductor makes us want to watch you and walk the way we watch you.
Anything else for Joe? I had lots of positives. I thought your affect at the beginning was good. I saw a nice contrast between the powerful fanfare at the beginning, if you will, the broad introduction, and then the affability of Measure 5. And your affect overall was very affable, and that's an inviting affect because it allows people to feel like they can be more participatory with you. So that was quite good. I thought your time was quite good and much improved from your practice sessions. So that was evidence, I think, of probably some individual work on your end. Loved the tempo at the B section, and loved that while they didn't want to go there with you, you pulled them along. And that showed a good amount of leadership. Great use of space, good tempos and amour, good command. Just, it was a solid episode. Very, very good.
Thank you very much.
Forgot to ask Tristan, what have you learned the most from your participation in the course over the last 10 weeks?
I think it would be like the realization that, like any other skill, that the fundamentals of conducting are really important for being able to do pretty much anything else with your conducting. And for me, it was really like toning down like the noisiness of my body and all these extraneous things like my head and my back that were communicating things that shouldn't have been communicated, and basically just starting from the most basic kind of communication I can give and then moving out from there.
Great. And Joe?
Yeah, I think for me, it all had to do with developing how I wanted the music to sound by the way I look, and obviously like that is conducting in a nutshell, but I think for me it primarily had to do with just eliminating that extraneous motion and developing like a sense of being able to lead as opposed to like follow the ensemble. And I think just being able to show as much different engaging variety that you can without being over the top. So yeah, and I think another, probably my greatest takeaway was, and something that I'll continue to work on, is hearing what's going on and responding to it as well as leading at the same time. Because if something goes awry, not like anything really did, but if something does, you have to be able to attend to it and get the whole ensemble back on track.
Conducting is a lot about simultaneous reaction and proaction. Reacting to the reality of the moment, but being proactive about what's to come. And variety, since you bring that up, isn't always about degrees of magnitude. A gesture and then whatever degree of magnitude provides the variety. Variety can be achieved in a number of ways. very simplistically, rather than, as you said, being kind of overwrought and providing variety, just big, small, which is the basic kind of variety that we often tend to do. Like, this is a small gesture, and this is a big gesture. There's my variety. Right? Okay, great. Players who need stretch, stand up for a second. And then we have our next 4 up. In case you're wondering, the reason you're over there is just to provide less distraction for who's ever up here. Yeah, and I don't mind you kind of air conducting. Just make sure that it's not so big that it's out of the corner of the person's eye. Yeah, yeah. No, it's going to be, that's not that part. No, it's covered. Next movement. great. All right, and finally Anish. Okay. So just like before, we'll talk to each person, and as I mentioned, we'll be able to end a little early today. It's nice weather out, so should be able to enjoy a little bit of that. Group picture on Friday, by the way. It's a tradition that I have with all of my conducting classes going back to when I started, so make sure you don't look too shabby. And we'll hopefully have some nice weather and be able to go outside and snap our group photo. So we always do one where we show our best, Dictus, and then, of course, the zany one. All right, so let's start with Jen, and give Jen some feedback about today or the entire quarter. Yeah, Raina.
So, Jen, I thought you really improved a lot because, like, when you started out, since you did drum corps, like, you were already pretty clear, but now, like, you're clear with, like, a lot more musical intention, like, both in, like, your musical ideas for, like, the phrasing, but also just, like, conveying articulation and energy, and I think that has gotten a lot better, versus just, like, being able to be like a steady pulse.
Yeah, technique was never going to be a huge issue with you. It was, what did you want to convey to the ensemble? Yeah,
I think
Nish.
you're just like willing to take more risks, and I think that's really coming through to the ensemble.
Yes.
Yeah, I think musically, you're showing so much more than you did at the beginning of the quarter, and so that's probably your greatest improvement. But specific to Carmina Burana, I think in Amor Volat Indique, in both movements, but especially in the later movement, I thought you did a phenomenal job of showing different characters between the and dun 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 and other parts too. But it was so much so that you brought something new to the table that not necessarily had been done within this class before, and other parts too. But so, yeah, just tremendous job.
Anything else for Jen? I think overall, what I appreciate the most about you as a human being, and I know you in several different environments, not just this, is your willingness to learn and set aside what you think you know for maybe a better way, or considering a better way. And so what the danger often is coming into this class for somebody that has had training as a drum major is that they already have the technical skills at least somewhat in their bones a bit, and they can be very resistant to change because they've done it that way for so long, it's kind of ingrained. And your willingness to set that experience aside as an asset, yes, but as one that isn't the end, but is the beginning of a longer journey. I think that's what I appreciate about you in here the most, is your willingness to set that aside, use it as an asset, but build on it. And in general, like I just said, the thing I like about you most just as a human being is your almost insatiable appetite to keep getting a little bit better each and every day. So, good job. Anything, Daniel?
I was really happy that you went after stuff today. Really
Yeah.
glad we talked about it, so good for you.
Take some rest.
I never stop doing that.
Yeah, especially our music ed majors. You know how important this is. Jen, what's your big takeaway from basic conducting?
I'd say honestly, it just helped me to become a better musician. Because like when you're standing up in front of there with a score, like you have to know, you can't just know your own part. You have to know all parts, and you have to know how, like, you have to have clear musical ideas in your head. and you have to like be able to convey those. So there's like a lot more work that you have to do on your part as a conductor, because you have a lot more responsibility. And people look to you for how to shape things and just everything about music. So I think that was the one big thing that I learned, was like that accountability that becomes a part of you when you step on the podium.
And both of you will automatically be involved in Dr. Thompson's advanced conducting, and I feel very comfortable with that. I never worry about the people that have gone through my basic conducting class surviving her conducting class. So you two do well. And I don't know how many others of you are interested in taking that class, but we can talk about that. They have to do it because of their degree program. Drake! Nice job today, Drake.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was happy for you. Really happy for you. So let's give Drake some quick feedback. Not everybody at once. Raina.
No, I think your clarity today was really good. Both in terms of like obviously like steadiness and keeping time, but also like, I don't know, just like it showed that you had a really thorough knowledge of the score. You like knew when everything was going to happen.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire class, I just got the impression that you cared a lot about like how you performed up there, and you certainly like put in the work on your own, and it definitely showed. So I really appreciate that about you.
I'll concur with that. I always get a sense that you really are invested and you care about what you're doing. I can tell that not only when you're on the podium, but when you're off. You really do pay attention when others are working, and I think you're trying to glean something that's personal for you from something that's personal for whoever we happen to be working with. And I get a sense that that's just who you've been in the past and who you'll continue to be. So don't stop being that person. Good preparation today. I thought in many ways some of your strongest conducting of the quarter was today. Much like I felt with Tristan, just 8 minutes of having to put it together and manage mistakes and have the little voices in your head saying, oh, you could have done this better. Well, it's, in the rear view mirror now, which those voices don't stop. They go on in your head all the time, like, oh, darn it. But we have to move on because we have to be in the moment so much. Better use of the baton today. It seemed more connected to your hand and thus your body than it was in previous times. Better stability. Overall, just comfort level, I think, on the podium all quarter has increased every time you've gotten up. Daniel?
I think especially a good job of not just improving, but improving on the issues that we specifically addressed, the quadrant stuff, or the head neck stuff, or the wrist work, I think a really good job of either eliminating or building on those things, because it unlocked a door for you to do other things that you actually wanted to get to. So really nice.
And what have you learned the most in 10 weeks?
Exactly what Jen said. I think it made me a better musician. And also, I think now I appreciate conductors more. It's a total, different type
Because
of...
we don't get enough attention.
No, but the thing is, you get so much attention, and then it's like, oh, but the musicians are like, oh, but we make the music, but you control everything, and I didn't realize how much work and individual things that go into it. And I think, just like Jen said, being more aware of all the parts and knowing what you want, but then figuring out how the littlest movement can make something come to the ensemble. So
The greatest compliment I can get from this class is that they made you a better musician. If that's the case, then, we're on the right track. Megan, feel better now? It's out of the way. Yeah. Whew. All right, let's give Megan some feedback. I thought you did a really good job today. Megan, it was horrible in the eyes of, no. Yeah, Anish.
I think you just have like a completely different like effect when you go up on the podium now compared to like when you first started. It's like you're just much more confident and you're much more comfortable in what you're doing. And it definitely shows, and everything about your pattern and like how you just carry yourself has improved a lot.
Yeah, I thought you improved so much, like over the course of this 10 weeks, and now I think all of us like feel a lot more comfortable when you're conducting, and that shows a lot. And also, I think as a string player, like I remember at first, it was hard for you to like cue the breath and everything because it's hard for you to understand. But now I feel very comfortable, especially in those speed sections. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to sort of echo what's already been said, I think you're a lot more confident now, which is awesome, and it totally shows. And also when like something did go wrong, like you didn't show it as visibly as like, you know, in the past you'd be like, oh, like, but you kept going, you know, and then that's exactly what you need to do, so great job dealing with that.
Yeah, good energy today. I think to add on to what Jen has said, I felt that throughout the course of the quarter, your confidence level has risen 10 or 20-fold, and how that manifests itself in your appearance in front of the ensemble should be apparent to you when you listen to how they play for you, and you should feel very good about that. That's a gratifying feeling when that happens, when players really want to give you back what you're giving to them. Excellent use of space. You have long arms, so use what the universe gave you. And I thought, hey, you've got long arms, use them, and you did today. And then there was variety, because you made a conscious decision, I think, in several moments to minimize and to economize a bit, and it really showed, because you had used space previous to that. So they responded in kind to that. So I liked a lot of the visual variety and the stylistic variety that you provided the ensemble today. I like that, as Daniel was mentioning with a couple other people, I like that you went for a few things today and took some risks that maybe you wouldn't have done a week or 2 weeks ago. And I thought it worked out in your benefit. Players will always give you the benefit of the doubt if they know where you're going. You might not know exactly how to get there yet, but if they know what idea you have in your head, they'll help you along. Like, okay, yeah, I see where you're going with this. Come along with me, and we'll go on a journey together. So I thought that was great. I thought so many transitions and moments where the ensemble needs us, releases, and things like that. You had good connectivity with the players, and that was very helpful for them. I'm really proud of your progress this whole quarter. What have you taken away the most from being in here?
I think kind of what Drake was saying about appreciating like the art of conducting more. I think that coming into this class, I've not given it as much thought as it deserves, and like when I'm in an ensemble, I didn't recognize like how much work the conductor was putting in and like how much it affected how I felt, and then like both conducting myself and also being someone who like is in the ensemble when the conductor is being coached. I think like both of those experiences have made me realize how the little things make such a big difference, and how it's like Brandon was saying also, like it's all about like being really intentional. So I just like appreciate that more, and I've noticed myself in like orchestra noticing more things about the conductor and what they're doing. So I think that that's a good skill that I'm taking, like especially as a performer.
And since that's come up, do you find ensemble players that you're able to maybe respond to the conductor a bit more because you have an understanding of what it is that they're asking? Yeah, I always found that when I was playing and learning to be a conductor at the same time, that because I was maybe a little more interested in what was going on in their head rather than what they were just showing helped me give them more or give them something, especially when I was playing like in the principal spot, and your job is to have a concept, to have an idea, because the conductor's relying on that. But if I had at least some kind of insight into how they felt things should be, then I would, how do I want to say, better mold my idea into theirs, or fold it into theirs. All right, and finally, Anish. Good job today, Anish. Great way to end our first day of finals. So let's give Anish some comments. Yes, Joe.
I think today especially you showed special attention to the little things, especially the, just very small intricacies that made a huge difference. Whether it was waiting till the group ended to start a new section, or paying attention to even the smallest of lines so that that person would stay engaged. I think, and as a result of that, or maybe, I think you were able to do that because of your strong communication skills, which you've had throughout the whole quarter, but you've definitely honed them to show exactly what you want. So, great progress this quarter.
Yeah, I feel like throughout the whole quarter, like you've always had an idea in your head of like what you wanted, but as you went along, like you communicated it better and better, and it was always really like comfortable to play for you.
I thought that today was the most like poised and in control that I've felt, or like seen you as being a member of the ensemble, and it felt like I felt very supported, and like every member of the ensemble had your attention, and like you made eye contact with people at like really important places, and I just thought that was like really good.
Yeah, this is not to certainly disparage the other 15 people in the class, but I felt like all quarter you may have been solid each episode, whether it was I don't know what we want to call them, practice sessions, and then the graded sessions. I felt that you were solid through all of that, and solid sometimes can come off as a boring word, like, well, that was a solid performance, like meaning unspectacular, and I don't mean it that way either. I like solid. Solid not only makes me feel comfortable, but it makes me feel like you have placed things on the table in an appropriate way that now I feel like I can put things on the table too. And I think that solidity that you provide each time you get up is a great benefit to the ensemble. And I thought today especially you had great solidity. I know that's an odd word, but it's an important one. We want our conductors to be confident. Poised was a great word to use. And solid. We don't like, as human beings, instability or carelessness or how do I want to say, unwarranted surprises, and we like solidity. And I thought you took a couple risks today too, which is good. I mean, we need that as well to keep the music vibrant and alive. And I really appreciate, again, and I've known you since you started here, your commitment to the task. And you had great commitment to this task and to all the tasks in the class, and I think that's a great asset. So what was your takeaway from the quarter?
It's just like a really different perspective, like sitting in a chair and listening to your own section, and then like realizing all the work that you guys do as conductors to like have a cohesive sound, especially like with just different types of pieces that you guys program and stuff. Like it's just like a whole level of appreciation it's, I don't know, it's easy to get very stuck in your own part, in your own section, and like the sound you have in your head. When you get on the podium, you're like, I hear all these different things. And it's like a completely just different role that you have to kind of, figure out your way. And it's still a little bit weird sometimes. I still feel kind of weird when I come up there because I'm just like, and I just kind of like have a little moment, but then I just try to calm myself down. But it's definitely like, I don't know, I just have a lot more appreciation for what conductors do and how they're able to do it.
And even if your life will be spent playing professionally, like many of you aspire to do, you can still take that knowledge to your individual playing and use it to your benefit. Having that kind of understanding of what the conductor wants and what you want as a performer, I think helps the two meet in the middle just a bit, which is ultimately what you want. The conductor kind of reaches out to the ensemble or the performer, and the performers reach back, and it's a grand negotiation sometimes between the ensemble and the conductor, but I think it's a helpful one when the ensemble has an understanding that the conductor's not up there. I mean, some of them I suppose could be, but not up there because they want to be in control. They're up there because the ensemble, hopefully, has selected them. I mean, in most situations, the orchestra selects the conductor based on who can make us sound the best, who can make us more cohesive in terms of musical vision, philosophical vision, and in terms of just musical detail. That's something that I think Sir George Solti did so well in Chicago when he was at the helm of the CSO. He had a great musical vision and philosophy, his programming, but he was also a great musical tactician on the podium. He knew how to get the ensemble just to sound at their very best and to make each and every player really contribute and be in a position to sound their very best too. So being able to have both of those attributes is important. Okay, any final thoughts? Well, even though it's very dark in here and a little inauthentic in terms of the lighting, when you go outside, the world is beautiful, so enjoy it. And have a very nice day.